Hello, everybody. I am here on a very sunny and warm-ish day. And I just want to make sure I have sound. Oh, I do. Okay. Stop it. Go away. Okay. I'm like, go away. To my video, not to you guys. Hello and good morning. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Elle. Hi, Cheesecake. Hi, Annette. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm just always nervous because YouTube stinks lately with the live streams. More often than not, I'll get errors while I'm creating them. And then I'm like, so I don't know if it's going to crash in the middle, because in one of the videos that I did during my Mark series, I was doing it live. And then all of a sudden, like 10 or 15 minutes into the video, it just started buffering and wouldn't stop. And so I had to redo the whole thing. And there was another time I started it and I had no sound. And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I literally just don't even know anymore. I just hope for the best. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, we try again, right? So, hello, Fane Fritch, I think. I'm not sure how you say that, but hello. Hi, Simple Midwest Girl. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Leo. Hello, USAF Veteran 23. Laura, did I actually catch you live? Yes, you did actually catch me live. Hi, Trish. Blessings from Canada, you say. You guys have a lot of interesting stuff going on over there right now, too. The whole world is freaking out a little bit, a lot, in very different ways. But everybody's freaking out right now. Good morning, Robin. Hi, Valentine. Principal is in, right? Too funny. Hi, Bobby. Good morning. Kevin Markham says hello from Texas. Hi, Richard and Marty. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Lels. Elizabeth, you said you just responded to my post. I have a notification. What does my notification say? Please hold. I'm not sure if I've seen it yet. We'll see it later for sure, though. Hi, not home yet. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Megan. How are you? Thanks for being here. Hi, JKW. Oh, blessings from Scotland. Yay, Scotland. There's only one place in Europe that I ever wanted to visit, and it was Scotland or Ireland, but mostly Scotland because of the Highlands. I used to read a lot of just fiction about the Scottish Highlands when I was a wee lass. And I just always wanted to go there. I'll never get there, but I just wanted to go there. Too funny. Nice to have you here. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Aaron. Oh, okay. That's so funny. So funny that you say that. Hi, Aaron Lindsay, husband to Megan Lindsay. When you were here in the last live stream, you said something about Megan Lindsay, and I was yay close. I was yay close to saying, oh, we have a Megan Lindsay and an Aaron Lindsay, but I didn't want to make it uncomfortable, so I didn't. But now you say that. So hello and welcome to Megan Lindsay's husband. That is so funny. Okay, good. I thought it, but I didn't want to say it because that would have been, it took me back when you said that. I'm going to just totally rabbit trail before I get into the current events. But when I was growing up, I was in 7th grade, and I'm Heather, and there was an 8th grader because we had a shared classroom whose name was Heath. And when I went to a very, very small Christian school, and we're all just really uncomfortable and just really like touchy at that age about, boys liking girls and girls liking boys and whatever. And he was doing roll call, and the other kid's name was, I don't want to say his last name, but he said his name, but he said Heather instead of Heath. And so it just made me so uncomfortable. It made everyone super uncomfortable. Like, we're not married. That's not my last name. It's his last name. It was so bad. So I'm like, I never want to make other people uncomfortable because I've been there and it's not fun. Anyway, it obviously had a huge impact on me because I was 12 then and I'm 44 now. So 32 years later, I still remember it. I still remember it. Hi, Wilhelmina from Portugal, and hello, Mama. Christine Campbell, good morning. Hi, Amber L. and Nick B. Camilla Tan and Tall Man, hello to you all. Tall Man Tim. Steph Serenity Martin, hello. Hi, BB Beard. No coffee for me today. Already drank it. Or maybe I haven't had it yet. I haven't had coffee yet. That's bad. I had chocolate milk this morning instead of coffee. Hi, Duke Daddy. Hi, Gina. Hi, Yellow Rose. Hi, Elizabeth Helms and David. Hi, Howard. Hi, Dan. Good morning to you. Hi, Roxanne. No, I don't look beautiful every day. Since I stopped working, I don't go anywhere. So this morning it's all nice out. And I was like, I'm going to pretend that I have a job to go to. And I'm going to do what I would have done if I had a job to go to. Oh, that's funny. Thank you. Hello, Lels and Simon. Hi, Kevin. Megan. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I actually did it. That's funny. My hair. Yes, I did it. We don't have a live schedule. It's just whenever. Whenever. Hi, Arturo. Hi, Tom L. Good morning. Trish says, yes, many are freaking out, but time is too short. I'm just watching with interest for our blessed hope. And then that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come live. And I know that there are a lot of people kind of freaking out right now. And we just need to remember that God is in control always, 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 always. And that, one of the blessings of knowing the times that we live in and knowing what was to come is that we don't freak out. I don't know that we could have anticipated a lot of what's going on. I never would have thought to anticipate a lot of what is going on. But I was listening to some random thing yesterday. Oh, it was about some dude who said he saw a giant in the hills of Mexico or some mountains of Mexico or something like that, like some 20 plus foot tall giant. He's like, it didn't shake my faith. And I'm like, that to me was a weird statement to make. And I find it very applicable to the situation that's going on too. And maybe I hope I'm not alone in this, but when you see evidence of supernatural goings on, whether it was that dude who said he saw a giant in the mountain, he's like, it didn't shake my faith. Why would it? Why would that shake your faith? When we look at things that are going on in the Middle East right now, I guess I maybe could understand why people's faith would be shaken. They say, well, why does God allow this? This is the free will of mankind. I was thinking about this earlier, and not that I will keep going through chat, but I want to, while this is on my mind, I want to address this. And I totally just forgot what I was going to say. I totally just forgot what I was going to say. I guess I understand how it could shake the faith of some people, because they say, why would God allow this? This is the thing about prophecy. This is why I harp on this nonstop, specifically about Gog and Magog whenever I talk about it. Not nonstop, but whenever I talk about it, is that this prophecy was written to help us understand that point in time reference. When this was going to occur, the world was going to look like a certain thing. And so what we're seeing now is evidence of how the world was going to look like that certain thing for when this prophecy is fulfilled. And it answers a lot of the questions of the hows. We have questions about hows and whys. I know that people are still pondering about what the hook in the jaw is. I know people are still talking about what the alliances might be. And I'm all about the wait and see. I am not the person that needs every single detail known right this second. I'm not going to do that. And I realize people keep asking me, and I'm still not going to do that. We are so stinking close, man. We don't need to know all of the details right now. And one person emailed me 3 different times about Purim, and I deleted all of them because I'm like, we're 4 days away from that. Why do you need to ask me questions about something that's going to potentially happen in 4 days? If it's relevant, you'll know in 4 days. Like, I don't need to answer those questions to give you those details. You can sit and wait. This is patience, folks. This is patience. And it's unfortunate that while we are sitting here waiting, we have to see things that are horrific, absolutely horrific. And all I can say is that I'm glad those people are with the Lord now, the Christians that are going through terrible things in Syria right now. I'm glad that they are with the Lord now and out of that situation, because it is infinitely better for them to be with Jesus than to be in that situation still. So if God thought it necessary to bring them home, to take them out of that situation, like, it's still not good. No, like, am I still buffering? Okay. Yeah, my connection. How long was it gone for? You know, okay. I'm gonna bring this up on my phone so that I can see when it's okay. Good. Thank you. Yeah, I saw the thing come up on my screen. So I actually just brought up the live stream on my phone and muted it so that I can see when my stuff is being stupid. But that's where I'm kind of at right now with what's going on in Syria, is trying to look for any single silver lining in this at all, because it's just so terrible. And the bad part about it is there isn't a silver lining for a lot of the folks that are going through this, because they're not believers. Some of them are. I mean, this is affecting all minorities. Some of those minorities are definitely not Christian. And that's a terrible situation. The whole thing is a terrible situation. One of the things I've been trying to do is scour social media and try to figure out, like, you're not going to, in mainstream media, get an accurate total of the number of people who have been killed. You're just not. There's not going to be anyone who isn't interested or has some kind of, at this point, I would say, and this is the cynical part of me, but you're not going to find anybody who doesn't have a vested interest in whitewashing this and making it less than what it is. Because even the United States, under the Biden administration, they were giving monetary and armed and military support, or whatever they were doing, to the people who overthrew the Assad regime, who are now in charge, who are responsible for massacring these people. So, like, there's no one who doesn't have their fingers in this in some way, because that's just how geopolitics works now, is everybody picks a side, right, wrong, or other. Everybody's picking a side, and everybody wants their fingers in this because there's some kind of fiscal incentive to do that, whether it's through, to defense departments, weapons manufacturer, weapons sales, whatever this is the cynical side of me. But, like, you can't deny that that's how things work these days, is everyone has supported a side. And when both sides are evil, I mean, this is why the stupid United States should have just stayed out of it. But no, can't do that. Got to be in charge of everything. Should have stayed out of it. So it's absolutely horrid. So, like I said, I've been trying to scour social media and news sites and stuff like that to try to find, like, what's actually going on. And all we can say is it's not over. You'll see, I think it was the BBC over in Britain. Britain is messed up, man. Europe is just messed up. Like, for all those who live in Europe, you probably know way more than I do about how messed up some of the European countries are these days. But Britain is terrible, like, way worse than it ever used to be. The BBC was talking about so what's his name? El-Sharaa, who's the leader. And I don't even know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube. My channel's not monetized, but I don't even know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. So that's part of the reason I've been, like, resistant to saying anything is because I don't want like my channel to get taken down because I said something I shouldn't have said. So that's part of the reason why I haven't been talking about this. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. But the dude who's in charge of Syria right now, who is ex-Al-Qaeda, ex-ISIS, still is. He's a jihadi and overthrew Assad, and now he's the one in charge. But the BBC said, oh, he is trying to put a stop to what's going on, and they're trying to get things under control, and they were blaming the people who were with Assad, like the Alawites. They were blaming them for the uprising. It's like, nope, they were just in their homes doing nothing, and these guys barged in and dragged them out and killed them. No. It's like, you're never going to make this better, or you're never going to get people to intervene or try to stop this if they can't even admit that there's a problem or what that problem is. And that's why this isn't going to get better. You can't address a problem if you can't admit there is a problem, or if you are misrepresenting what the problem is. I mean, this is like number one of intervention, right? Is you have to admit there's a problem first before you can then take steps to address the problem. So the world won't admit there's a problem. You've got the United States and Israel, I think, are the only ones who disavowed what's going on in Syria, like came out and disavowed it. And that's why this is not going to get better, because no one will even admit. They won't report it correctly. They won't admit what it is, or they will try to repackage it into something it's not. And this dude who's responsible for ordering the massacre of all these people was invited to Brussels, which is where the UN is, to meet with them on March 17th or something. Like, they're making this dude a hero. No, he's not. He's actually not. And so that's why it's like, we look at this and absolutely have empathy for what's going on, knowing that there's no way that this is going to not continue because of the fact that no one's going to force it to. They're not going to admit what the issue is. They're going to repackage it into something that's more palatable, or just not even address it, which means it's never going to stop. So we look at this and we're like, if this timeline is accurate, if 1406, then 2025, and there was going to be a point in the world where people were going to redirect toward Israel, what was that going to look like? And this is where I know people want details. They want to know, like, every single thing. Could it be this? Could it be that? I've given as much detail as I'm comfortable giving to this point. We are at the wait and see. People are simply going to have patience, or you're going to have to go ask someone else who will offer you whatever speculation it is that you want. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. We're all finding out together in real time what all of these things mean. And it's sad as heck, man. It is sad as heck, and illustrative of how evil, how just absolutely evil man is without God. Man is depraved without God. This is one of the things. Oh, I was thinking about this. I was sitting in my chair scrolling my phone earlier, scrolling on X earlier, Twitter. And I was thinking, this is exactly how you can validate, even without any scientific proof, that evolution never could have occurred. Because things don't get better over time. They decay, they get worse, they devolve over time, especially if man is left to his own devices. He gets worse. It doesn't get better. Like this, the world, the way that the world is, the way that the heart of man works, the way that things without intervention go is they decay, they devolve, they get worse. They don't get better. Matter spawns out of nothing and is just magically great, or it's getting better. No, man. No, it's getting worse. Yeah. Second law of thermodynamics, everything is running down. Yes, it's the law of entropy. Yeah. Oh, yep. It's the law of entropy. And I'm like, this is stupid that people would even think that man has a chance without God. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And yeah. So, all right, let me go back up to chat after but I wanted to start addressing some of this stuff, but I don't want to not say hi to you folks. It's crazy though. It's like absolutely insane. The heart of man is evil. It makes you no longer wonder. If you wondered how God could destroy the world with water and start over again, it was way worse then than it is now because there were only 8 righteous people then. So, I mean, how many of us lived back then would have been begging for God to destroy it and start over? Because, like, aren't we kind of doing that now? Begging for God to destroy it and start over? Maybe we just kind of understand a little bit more. I mean, without the experiential reference point to say, why would a loving God destroy the world? Well, I don't know, man, because it seems pretty loving to me that he would destroy it and get rid of all the crap out of it and start over. I mean, it actually seems really loving to me. I guess it's all about perspective. I truly believe that it's all about perspective. Hi, Howard McCarter. I am way back up to the beginning, so you guys probably said hello a really long time ago. But I didn't want to not start addressing the reason that people came. Hi, Grant Wilkerson. Hello, Wouter. Hello from Belgium. Megan, you said he's weirder than you. Talking about your hubby. That's funny. Oh, I'm very glad he's here too. So hi to Aaron Lindsay, husband of Megan Lindsay. Very cool that you're here. Hi, Antonio. Hi, Jan Jandon. Good morning, Log Cabin Artist. Bobby, you said you're 44 too, 1980. Yeah, we were like the last year of Gen X. Like I just made Gen X, not a millennial. I wear that like a badge of honor, not a millennial. Sorry. I don't mean to like oh, that's so funny. I don't mean to make, I mean, I do mean to make jokes, but yeah. I just hit the tail end of Gen X. So what's funny is my mom, obviously a baby boomer, married someone who is 8 years younger than her. The joke when she married him was that at least he's closer to her age than he is to my brother and I. He's 13 years older than me. So not I mean technically, but not really old enough to be my dad. 12 years older than my brother, 8 years younger than her. He's like the oldest of the generation, and I'm like the youngest of the generation. But we're still like my stepdad and I are both from the same generation. It's kind of a joke. But yeah. Good morning, Christy Daniels. Hi, Zero Cool FLT, Frank and Karen. Nice to see both of you. And Frank, thank you so much. I am going to call this out. Frank sent me a really nice couple of emails recently, and very grateful for the time to reach out and just not ask for anything, but just say thank you. That like to me means the world. I appreciated that. And Frank also shared with me his and his wife Karen's love for palm trees, and they moved to Florida a couple of years ago. And I said, Frank, did you know 2 days ago, I think it was 2 days before the email, I had my hotel map up, looking at Miami Beach hotels, and I had my Delta app open looking for flights. And I'm like, no. Then after that email, I literally, after I signed off on that, I opened my Delta app and I booked a flight and I opened my hotels, and I'm going to Miami next week. And I'm going to see some stinking palm trees, man. But I was like, okay, God speaks in wonderful, marvelous ways. I was already this close to doing it. So I am going to Florida one last time next week. Going to Miami Beach, and I'm going to walk up the boardwalk. I just want to be, I was in the area a couple of years ago. But I didn't actually go to Miami, and I wanted to go to Miami since. So I was like, somebody was asking me, what are you going to eat the last couple of days before, if this year in April winds up being it, what are you going to eat on April 5th and 6th? I'm like, whatever I eat now. but I am going to go to Florida one more time. So it's like, take the trip, do the thing. Now's the time. Now's the time. So hello to Frank and Karen. Nice to see both of you. And it just gave me that little push that I needed to be like, all right, everybody else is not everybody else, but like everybody else is in Florida. I want to be in Florida too. So that's funny. Nothing else to lose. You said I was watching an old Jack Van Impe rerun. Oh gosh, man. Yeah, that takes me back. Called World War III Armageddon and Russia. There are a lot of people who think that Russia has to do with Gog and Magog, which Gog and Magog and Armageddon are not the same. Sounds like he's making the two the same. They're not. And there are a lot of people who have had Russia in their mind for a really long time. Whether they wind up being involved at all is really up in the air, because more references that you'll find in Geopolitics lends to the idea that that's really Turkey, not Russia. Does that mean that Russian troops or something couldn't be involved? Maybe, but they're not spearheading this. And I think that's one of the things that has become abundantly clear recently, that it's Turkey, not Russia. Hi, Lucifer. Nice to see you. No. I do think it's funny when you guys are like, I was watching one of your other videos and then saw you were live. It's funny. One day, I hope you all get sick of me. That's funny. Gina, the dead in Christ rise first in the rapture. So there are no saved dead just before the seals are opened. Who are the martyrs under the altar? People who die during the 70th week. The seals are representative of conditions that will exist from day 1 through day 2,520. There has to be a starting point, but then the ending point would be the end of the 70th week. The seals are very different from trumpets and vials. They're not isolated incidents. They are indicative of conditions that will exist and persist from a starting point to an ending point. So it's basically what you have in seal 5 is the contrast of seal 4. Seal 4 is death and of the unsaved, which is why Hades follows, because Hades is the abode of departed spirits that died in an unsaved state. Seal 5 is the opposite of that. So basically what seal 4 and seal 5 do together is tell you that there are going to be a bunch of people who pass away during the 70th week. Some will be unsaved and some will be saved. And it's just two different sides of the whole. So it's like half of them will it's not half, it's not 50%, but people will die, and they're either going to die saved or unsaved. The unsaved go to Hades, and that will be essentially to await the second death of the great white throne. And the saved will be martyrs, and they'll be resurrected in the Revelation 21st resurrection, in contrast to the second death, which is what the seal 4 people will be risen in. So basically what you have is indicative of two different options for people who die, saved or unsaved. And then the resurrections that are in Revelation 20 are for each group. Roxanne, you said, I'm not freaking out. My heart just hurts for all those that are being killed, Christian or not. It's so inhumane, praying for them all. 100%, because no one, regardless of whether they believe in Jesus or not, no one deserves that. No one. Hello, give ye ear and hear my voice. I think they found Noah's Ark a long time ago. I've been watching videos about that for ages. Yes, so grateful that we will not be here during the 70th week, because it's going to be way worse. 100%. 100%. Cynthia, you said you keep hearing there is no rapture because a loving God wouldn't allow the death of innocent people. God allows free will choices. And during those free will choices, he allows people to accept or reject him. Every single person, if things were just going to continue as they were indefinitely, every single person would die. Every single person would die. What you are seeing is that people are meeting their end in a way that is forced and horrific. It doesn't change the fact that man was appointed, what does it say in Hebrews? It is appointed unto man once to die, and after this, the judgment. What we are seeing, which evokes the empathy part of it, is the way in which they are dying. the way in which they are dying. Like we are visually seeing that, and it evokes empathy. It evokes emotion. And so people who aren't grounded in their faith will say, how could God do this? It is appointed unto man once to die, and after this, the judgment. It does not change the fact that 100% of people who are conceived in this world are going to die, except for the rapture. I know that. But what I mean is, it is appointed unto man once to die, and after this, the judgment. So you can't say, well, sometimes he's loving or sometimes he's not, based on how people die. It is appointed unto man once to die, and after this, the judgment. Every single person who is conceived in this world has an expiration date attached to that. And that could come at any time in any way. It has nothing to do with God. It has to do with the fact that Adam sinned. And the way that you get around Adam's sin is by believing in Jesus Christ, so that if you meet your mortal end, you have an eternal life to live out. It has nothing to do with God. It has to do with man's free will choices that were exercised really stinking poorly and haven't stopped being exercised really stinking poorly in the aftermath. And one day, they're not going to be exercised really stinking poorly, because you're not going to have the ability to make a bad choice, because you're going to be glorified and perfected, never to be unglorified or unperfected again. So we don't look at this as like it's God's fault. How about a little bit of ownership? How about a little bit of accountability and taking responsibility for our own stupid choices, and understanding that there are a lot of other people who don't have the same moral compass or the same guide stone that we do, and they're freaking evil, man. It's not God's fault. Not God's fault. People need to put the blame where it is due, which is on self or other self, but not God. Not God. God created it to be perfect, declared it all very good, and man screwed it up. And man keeps screwing it up. Recon Ron, hello. You said, praise King Jesus. Amen. Hallelujah. Yes, praise Jesus. That one day it won't be screwed up anymore. Hey, BB Beard. Christine Campbell, you said 2 of your friends were baptized yesterday. Cool. Roxanne, you said sharing the gospel with tracts every day. Awesome. Awesome. Never a better time to do it. Always a good time. Never a better time than today. Make today. Yep. Hey, Mike. Okay. Now we're to the part where my video went out. So I'm back. Give ye ear and hear my voice. You said we are confident. I say willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, Gina, and Megan's point to that, avoid name dropping, because what some people would say is solid would be highly debated here as not solid. And that's one of the channels I would say is not a solid point of reference. In fact, a lot of the subject matter that I have created over time on this channel has been a result of that person saying things that aren't true and are scripturally inaccurate. So that's why we don't name drop, because yeah. There's a reason. There's a method to the madness. Like, yep. And 2 Timothy 3:1, that know this also, in the last days perilous times shall come. Yep. Men shall be lovers of self, and what does it say? Yep. 1 Timothy, actually 2 Timothy, one of the best books. I mean, they're all good, right? How do you pick them? I like 2 Timothy, though. Knowing this also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents. That's like the least of it. Unthankful, unholy, yes, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. Yeah, evil. And this is one of the things too that really boggles my mind, and I just lack understanding about this. My son and I were talking about this last night. We have such a Western mindset about being able to negotiate or force or make people fearful of, or whatever motivation or manipulation tactic to get what you want, like Trump is trying to do with the tariffs and trying to make people bend the knee through sanctions or tariffs or things like that, basically trying to use financial markets to sway people into doing what he wants them to. It doesn't really matter if you agree or disagree, but it's a westernized mindset that you can take something away from someone and make them give you what you want because there's a fear of loss. What we're dealing with over in the Middle East with these people who are doing what they're doing is there's not a fear of loss. In fact, many of them find it better to die a martyr. Like, you can't make someone fearful of death who rejoices in that because they think it's a worthy cause. You can't take anything more away from these people than they already don't have because they've already lost everything, and yet they're still doing the thing. We have such a Western mindset. And I will say that Israel falls prey to this also, which I don't understand because they live in the Middle East around these people, is you're trying to negotiate with people who are beyond reason, who are beyond logic. This is why there was such a position as you don't negotiate with terrorists, because you don't think like they do. You aren't like them. They're not like you. Reason and logic cannot be used with unreasonable and illogical people who have different ideals and people who have different morals and different values, and who have different, in that case, religious bent, which says our religion says we must do this, kill you wherever you find them, hunt them, and use deception and lie. And like, you can't negotiate with that. You can't work with that. You can't live with that. You can't have peace side by side with that. And I fail to understand why everyone's trying to use all this diplomacy and why we're spending all this time in these meetings in Egypt, and they're meeting in Doha, Qatar. Qatar is like the world's premier sponsor of terrorism right now, and they're like a good mediator. I don't understand this. And I think the Western mindset says, well, you have to try to negotiate. You have to try to be civil with uncivilized people. And so what's the alternative to that? You go bomb the crap out of them. And of course, they're not going to do that. So that's why these things aren't going to be resolved. That's why God himself is going to have to resolve it, because these are things that cannot be resolved by mankind, because you have two forces at odds, good versus evil. This is absolutely spiritual. And there's no resolution for a spiritually driven conflict. There's not. There's just not. And it's a crazy world that we live in. Jesse JC, you said, takes a lot of faith to believe our ancestors are bacteria from a primordial soup. How anybody could possibly believe that, I don't know. Maybe because you're like, oh, look how far we've come. We're not that anymore. It's like, dude, you are way worse than the original created people ever were. They probably could not have fathomed the depths of stupidity that exists now, of mankind being worse and worse every single generation, the further removed from perfection. Like, they're probably like, no. Hi, Joseph Taylor. That's my uncle's name. I know you're not my uncle, but I have an uncle, Joe Taylor. That's funny. Melody, you said you were thinking that last night. There are dairy products in the fridge now with an expiration date past Nissan 10. That's funny. It's funny to think about like potentially doing these things for the last time, like going grocery shopping or not having to buy butter again. I mean, yeah, it's surreal, that's for sure. Hi, David, Arizona Trekker from North Carolina. Hi, Ben Casper from Montreal. You said some people in church yesterday asked you how long you're going to be in Montreal. You said about a month. That's funny. Not a millennial. Yeah, not a millennial. You know what's funny though is because in going through my coursework for the program that I'm in, I had to do in one of the classes had to do a paper about millennials and the distribution of the generations in the workforce and how there's like 5 different generations in the workforce. Because you still have the silent generation. It's like they're the Walmart greeters who are like your, 80-year-olds who maybe just wanted to get out of the house for something to do. And then your boomers, and then your Gen X, and then your millennials, and now you've got your Gen Zers in the workforce. And Gen Alpha is going to come into the workforce too. So it's talking about the millennials and the dispersion, the distribution, I guess, of the workforce, and how upper management from here forward are really going to be predominantly millennials. After people retire out of the workforce, you're basically going to be replacing leadership management with millennials. And what is the mindset of millennials and how it differs from older generations and stuff like that. I had to do a bunch of papers and I'm like, I'm not a millennial. I don't care. But I had to care because I had to write papers and stuff about it. So it's just kind of interesting stuff. But yeah, not a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer. Hey, Owl. Megan, you said the millennial club is cool though. Yeah, I know. I'm like not talking bad about it. It's just funny because I've like literally had to do assignments and stuff about it. So just funny. Yeah, that was the bad thing about Gen Xers is, everybody complains about the millennials and how they are, why they are the way that they are and stuff like that. But who raised them? Gen Xers. So maybe they were screwed up too. Like everybody's messed up. Nobody's better or worse. It's just different. It's just different shades of messed up. It's just different shades of messed up, basically. But yeah. Too funny. Typer, Hebrews 10:26. For if Israel continues to sin willfully after they've received knowledge of truth, which means they know about Jesus and they have chosen to reject him, there remains no more sacrifice for sin. Jesus is the final sacrifice for sin. So if people reject him, there ain't no other way to be saved. But a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation which shall devour the adversary. Read 70th week. That's exactly what that's talking about. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much sorer punishment suppose ye shall he be thought worthy, who had trodden under foot the Son of God and had counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing, and had done despite unto the Spirit of grace. Like God made it easier than it was in the Old Testament. He died for sins. All you have to do is believe him. You don't have to follow a sacrificial system and go to a priest and be declared clean and offer the turtle doves and the pigeons and whatever else they did, and the sin offerings and the burnt offerings and the incense and all. He made it so much easier. And if they still choose to reject him, then you're out of luck. Definitely out of luck. But it's about Israel. Yeah, Hebrews. I love me some Hebrews. Megan said Heather did a verse by verse teaching through Hebrews 10. Yes. I love that book. It's based in telling about how Jesus comparatively, like all of the things that Israel esteemed, angels, the old covenant, David, Moses, the temple, all of this, the Levitical priesthood, like all of this stuff that Israel esteemed under their Old Testament. It's a comparative contrast between Jesus and how he's greater in all the ways in which he is greater than all of these people or things that they esteemed. Love me some book of Hebrews. Love it. Roxanne, you said you think of me every time you see a palm tree. Now, I love palm trees. Yes. Go to the beach. I'm not a beach person. I like palm trees and I like warm. And it's actually the past couple of days, it's been in the 50s here. It's supposed to, I think we're on the upswing now. But I just am tired of being cold. Like, tired of being cold. Want to go be warm in the sun and look at palm trees and eat seafood and walk up a boardwalk and maybe see some sharks in the ocean, not like get eaten by them, but I just want to do that. And I'm like, well, it's now or never, right? Yeah, somebody sent me, I actually have gotten two things recently about Russia being on horses. I don't know, because I don't know specifically that Russia is going to be involved. Maybe they will be, maybe they won't be, but that's not specifically what that is about. People have long thought Russia because of the transliteration of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. Gog is the chief prince. Rosh is the Hebrew word for chief, which just means head. There's two ways that this could be written. He's the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, or he's the Rosh prince, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. So people have transliterated that to be Russia, Moscow, Tubalsk, or whatever they call that. It's a transliteration. The closest interpretation is probably Turkey, not Russia, but that's not to say that Russia couldn't be involved. Geographically, they're proximate, but also they have alliances with Iran specifically in different ways, like financial and economic and some things that they've been allying with lately. But I don't know. Like, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe the fact that they're on horses matters. Maybe it doesn't. Like, again, it's one of those details that we're just going to have to wait and see. Laura C., I don't answer questions about pets or animals in heaven because it's not given. So I haven't seen anything about it in scripture, which is why I don't talk about it. And people keep asking me. I know that's what we want to hear versus information that's not given, but I don't address it because it's not there. Jesse JC, you said, I have a Christian friend that said he will stay behind upon request to Christ. That's not how that works. That is not how that works. So that he can help save souls during the 70th week. I appreciate the heart of that man. Do it now. You're not going to have the option later. Do it now. Can't do it later. I appreciate that he would want to do that, but that is not how that works. You don't get to make requests. You are not your own. You're bought with a price. He's going to redeem and repossess and change his physical property. Don't get that choice later. Do now what you want to do later, because you will not have the opportunity to past a certain point. Yeah, he's coming with. Everybody's coming with, regardless of whether they want to or they think they will. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Cheesecake, you said, will the trib affect the whole world? Yes. Why won't the U.S. help Israel? They seem to be so pro-Israel. Well, you're talking about two different things. So are you talking about Gog and Magog, why the U.S. won't help Israel? You're assuming they can. This is the point where we have to stop making assumptions. We have to stop making assumptions and just interpret the text. It doesn't matter if they can or can't, it's that they won't. And so it doesn't tell you why they won't. It just says that Israel is going to be alone. The purpose for that is to magnify, glorify, and make obvious it is God. So people say, why won't the U.S.? I don't know. That's a detail we're not given. I don't know. We're getting to the point where people are asking things. They're asking for details that are beyond the scope of the Bible. And I know that we want explanations, and I know that we want details, and we want to know how and why every single thing. But it's beyond the scope of the Bible. We are in the wait and see phase. Everyone is finding out in real time how and why things are going to work the way that they are. I cannot offer details beyond what are given, and I know people want them. You're going to have to demonstrate patience. No one is going to be able to give you these details unless they are speculating, and I refuse to do that. The trib, the 70th week, will affect the whole world, though, yes. Gotta go way back up here. Yes, the whole world, all Christians are out. Guy says, amen, looking forward to being free from my stupid stuff. I know, right? A lot of stuff just seems pretty trivial. The things that we think are so important, when you take stock and you realize that time is so short, they become pretty trivial, don't they? It's like it's a reevaluation of what's really important, what's not, and what we think is important. But if it went away tomorrow, would you miss it? Maybe some stuff, but maybe we just have gotten so used to making things important that aren't. Hi, Jason Chapman. Accountability. Who to thunk? You know, who to thunk? No such thing as a peace treaty. Okay, so the 70th week is not a peace treaty. Simply because they are saying peace and safety does not imply that it's a peace treaty. It is a reinstituted Mosaic covenant. All the Lord has said we will do, and then they rebuild their temple and they reinstitute their sacrificial system. This is a misunderstanding that because we understand that that is part of the commencement of and the duration of the 70th week. We know that there is a 7-year period outstanding that will commence with these activities. But when Israel starts this, it's not going to be for 7 years. It's going to be forever. You have to put yourself in their shoes and realize they don't understand it's the 70th week. They're going to think kingdom and their Messiah. That's going to be forever. Because the Old Testament prophets say when he comes back, it's going to be an everlasting kingdom that will have no end. Daniel's sealed book, I realize that, but there's a lot of other things which talk about when their Messiah sets his feet on the Mount of Olives in Zechariah 14, that's going to begin kingdom. And then all who are left of the nations after that are going to go to Jerusalem annually to worship the king and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Isaiah talks about this. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff in their Old Testament that says that they're going to think kingdom. So we interpret it through the lens of understanding the 70th week in 7 years, that there's a commencement of, and then obviously they're only going to get that for 3.5 before there's a cessation of that, and an abomination of desolation, a flight of the remnant. So we know this. They don't understand the 7 years. There's nothing 7 years that you would look for. There's going to be an event, Gog and Magog, which changes the whole paradigm throughout the whole world and specifically in Israel. They're going to rebuild on the heels of that. They're going to institute the covenant, start their Mosaic laws and statutes and all that stuff again. That's going to mark the commencement of the 70th week, which is a return to the Mosaic law, which is specifically what Hebrews 10:26 I was talking about earlier says. It's a willful, abject rejection of Christ and the final sacrifice for sin. So instead of God being happy about it, he's going to get ticked off and they're going to start getting judged, enter 70th week. We understand 7 years. They will not. So anyone looking for a 7-year anything is not going to find it, because that's not what it's about. It's them accepting the wrong person to do the wrong thing, which starts a time period they're unaware of. They will become aware of, but not at the beginning of it. So I think anyone looking for any kind of 7-year thing in the news is really setting themselves up for disappointment. That's not what we would expect. We know the timeline of it. They don't. So they wouldn't be doing it for 7 years. They'd be doing it forever, but they would only get a certain amount of time out of that based on prophecy. What's the deal with the red heifers? I don't know. I know that they're needed for purification, but that is a conversation I do not engage in, because honestly, I don't know anything about it. And I was actually watching a video about this the other day. This is going to come after the red heifers have to be sacrificed in order to clean the instruments or something for the temple, or sanctify, purify, whatever, the temple, whatever. But I was watching a video about this, and I haven't even read Numbers 19, where this is taken from. I think it's Numbers 19, so I haven't even read it. But what I did hear someone say is that the place where they're sacrificed has to be a specific place respective to the temple. Like it's and I don't know if this is tradition or if the Bible actually says it. Again, I haven't studied this at all. If they don't even know where the temple is, then they can't sacrifice the heifers respective to where they would need to be sacrificed, respective to where the temple location is. There's going to have to be a whole bunch of understanding, knowledge that's gained in the aftermath of Gog and Magog to realign them with where the temple actually needs to be built. And then they're going to sacrifice for all of that stuff, I guess. But they would all be dependent on where the temple is, and they don't even know the right location for that now. So that's all going to be in the aftermath of Gog and Magog. I realize people are talking about it, but really, truly, it's a non-issue for now. And I'm not even sure that it would be going on while we're still here. I don't think that it would. I think it would be probably tied to maybe even the beginning of the covenant. And I say that because it would be in preparation for the Passover. Somebody pointed this out to me a little bit ago, but if you go to hebcal.com, and this is, we're on Hebrew calendar. If you go to Hebcal right now, it's Adar 10, 10th day of the 12th month. Adar 22 is what they read. It's called Shabbat Parah. Or I probably said that wrong. I don't know how to speak Hebrew. But this is what they read on the 22nd day of this month. So 12 days from now on the 22nd. They read a thing. It says it begins at sundown, Friday, the 21st of March, ends on nightfall, Saturday, the 22nd. And what is it called, what they read? I don't know what words to use. Whatever reading they do, whatever that's called. But it says that it's the Sabbath of the red heifer. It takes place on the Sabbath before the new year, which is Shabbat HaKodesh or something like that, in preparation for the Passover. So it's actually something that they're going to be reading about or refreshing about forthcoming. They read Numbers 19, 1 through 22. I will read that in the aftermath of this video. If you guys want to know more about that, I guess what they're going to be reading, read Numbers 19, 1 through 22. But it describes the red heifer in the Jewish temple as part of the manner in which the priests, Kohanim, I think is what that word is for, and the Jewish people purified themselves so they would be ready to sacrifice the Passover. So the timing of that is actually in preparation for the Passover. We know that the Passover is 4 days after the start of, 4 days after Nisan 10. So, I mean, you're kind of looking at the timing of this being like, okay, it's the right time of the year, and they would be setting the stage for that. But it's all in preparation for the Passover, which would be respected to something that would occur after we're gone. So I know it's a conversation. I haven't addressed it. I continue to be asked about it, and I continue to say, I don't know. Because that's the most I can offer you. I don't really know. Amy, you said, hi, Heather from Tampa. I've been listening for several years. Well, hello. I actually usually, when I go to Florida, fly into Tampa and then go to Clearwater Beach. That's my normal stomping grounds is over there. But 2 years ago, for my birthday, I planned a Key West trip and I flew into Fort Lauderdale. My aunt, uncle, and my cousin live in Fort Lauderdale. I hadn't seen them for like 15 years. So got to see them while I was down there. But I flew into Fort Lauderdale and stayed there for the night. And then the next day I drove down to Key West and stayed there for 2 days. And then I drove back up. So my only excursion in Miami was driving through. And I got a terrible migraine because there was a horribly bad torrential downpour that occurred as I was driving on the highway through Miami. Like I'm in this white car, couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. I was like, well, I hope I don't die. And wound up with a massive migraine. And whatever weather system was going on at that time, it stalled over Fort Lauderdale. The day after I left, they actually closed the Fort Lauderdale airport. You guys remember that if you're down there or whatever. But I was down there during that time and I was like, that was the worst trip ever because I felt horrible for like 3 days afterward because the tropical weather, I've never been that far south. My system rejected it. Like my system just rejected it. So I got to say I did it. Like I made the drive. That was fun doing the drive to Fort Lauderdale or from, I guess down to Key West, whatever. My first world problems, right? Like totally first world problems. I'm complaining. I know. I can't do heat that much. That was too much heat for me. But I do like Florida and palm trees. I'm willing to risk it one more time. Willing to risk it. But yeah, my one time through Miami was driving and I couldn't see anything because I was afraid for my life because I thought I was going to die because I got traffic whipping by me. I don't know where I'm going. And I all good. All good. Hi, Heidi Metcalf. Yeah, we definitely don't understand in our Western mindset how the Middle East works because it's all a spiritual battle over there. It is all a spiritual battle. Oh, hi, Truth Seeker Chick. Welcome. Yes, wrestling around. Hello, you said, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Yep. Hi, Leah Gressley. Yeah, Rebecca, you said we had a missionary at church yesterday talking about Albania and how less than 1% of the population is Christian, and it's not from willful rejection, but ignorance because they haven't heard about Jesus. But isn't it? Because Romans 1 talks about that. I mean, because there's a lot of people say, well, is it just for God to, if they've never heard about him? We live in a world that emphasizes a creator. So even if people haven't heard about Jesus, it says in verse 16, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Every single person above a certain age who can understand certain things lives in a world where creation is illustrated. It didn't just get here It is a choice to believe evolution. And maybe people haven't been presented with an alternative, but that's what critical reasoning skills are for. It's like you have the ability to question what you are being told. Your choice may be to not question. Your choice may be to question. But we all live in a world that evidence is a creator. And you might not have all of the answers and know all of the things, but you can observe that much. Through your senses, you can observe that much. And you can start asking questions. Answers are always available for people who seek. Mike said, do you think there will be naps in heaven? I like naps. I like naps too. Sleep is one of my favorite things in the whole world. Too funny. Hi, Lori Winger. Bordessa, nice to see you. Welcome. I think we're all going to be happy to meet each other. I'm just going to be happy to be there. Like anything else, I'm good with. I'm just going to be happy to be there. All of us are messed up, but for the grace of God, go we. Yeah. Different shades of messed up. Yep. But for the grace of God, go we, Oh, I was going to talk about the pearl in this video, but since we're already long enough, I was like, I'll do that separate video for that. But I was going to run through a conversation about that because I know a lot of you guys weighed in, chimed in on that, and some of the feedback I got was super. Some of it was funny, but it was very cool, and it's all related. So yeah, I do want to have a bigger conversation about that, but we'll save that for a different live stream. So basically what I want to reiterate with this, and I know that there's a lot of people who want specifics and want details, and that's simply not going to be something I offer about what's going on in the Middle East, because people are looking at where's this leading, what's the outcome? Well, Gog and Magog, that's what the outcome is. But the details that people want filled in about what this means or who's who, or what is there going to be a catalyst or not a catalyst, that is stuff that I cannot offer because we are all in the same boat of having to wait and see. And I do understand that people want information, but literally you're talking about matter of days, a matter of weeks here. All of it will become clear. And so I just want to encourage people to be patient and to wait. And some of the things that we're going to see clearly, I was unprepared for. Like you can't prepare for some of the things that have occurred. I don't think that for someone who is a God-fearing person who doesn't think about mass murdering people, you can't plan for that. Like you just can't. There's no this, I think the Syrian army is going to go do this today. Like you just wouldn't think of that. And so it hits harder because that's just not how we work. That's not our mindset. That's not how we operate. And I know people are like, how is this going to end? By Jesus. That's where all of us is headed. So when people are asking for all of these details, it's truly looking for outcome. What is this leading to? It's leading to Gog and Magog, where God puts his foot down and says, no, stop. And the majority of the people, problem children in the Middle East right now, are going to be destroyed in that. And that's why you're going to have Israel allowed to rebuild her temple and go back to her sacrificial system, why people are going to say peace and safety, because essentially all of the people who are creating the issue right now are going to be resolved really fast in a day by Jesus, by God, when he sends, 6 different ways to kill the armies on the mountains of Israel. So in the aftermath of that, you're going to have all of the problem children dealt with. And then Israel is going to be safeguarded in order to do a certain thing, which leads into this 7-year period Literally the immediate aftermath of that is peace being taken from the whole earth. That's seal 2, the rider on the red horse, and peace is being taken from the earth. So there will not be peace. There might be like a momentary thought that there will be peace because God just did this thing, and in the aftermath, Israel is going to start this other process. But there's not going to be peace until Jesus returns 7 years from now, presumably, and defeats the armies at Armageddon and establishes his righteous kingdom where he rules with a rod of iron and puts the kibosh on all of these stupid children right now that are running roughshod over this earth and doing really terrible things to people. So it's not going to get better. How much worse, I can't say. But outcome, I think that's really what people are trying to ascertain is what's the outcome here. It's leading to Gog and Magog. That's what you read about is there's this Gog, whoever, whatever this is. And it's like, be a guard to these people on this day. You're going to be doing a thing. There's going to be a hook in the jaw where it's a redirection of going to Israel. Is there a catalyst? I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. Maybe there's just, I don't know. I it's not that I don't want to answer people. It's like, I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I know that there's this whole Purim thing, whatever. 4 days from now, if it's relevant, you'll know in 4 days. And if it's not, you'll know in 4 days. I mean, literally, we're getting down to people. We're asking such specific things. And it's like, we're just going to have to wait and see. I can't tell you whether or not it is or isn't relevant. But in 4 days, you'll know. 5 days specifically, you'll know if something happened on that date or if it didn't. And then you'll know. Like, I don't need to tell you. You can just wait 4 days or 5 days to figure it out. So people are in a rush. People are becoming impatient. They want to know more. It's like, guys, we're just going to have to figure it all out together. We'll know. I'm not that person who's comfortable with wild speculation. And to me, it's all wild because it's like, why would you guess? Why don't you just, you'll know when he tells you, like, you don't need to guess. So all speculation to me is kind of wild because it's like, why invent things just to be wrong? Like, I'm not as creative as God is, and I don't have foreknowledge. So I can't look down the line and say, this will happen on this date. I'm honestly just not that creative. So I'm not going to guess. Like, to me, that just doesn't make sense. And to a lot of other people, I think you're just used to people who do guess. I'm not that. So I'm not going to start. We'll find out together. Charles M., you said rather than Gen X or millennial, how about last gen? There you go. The term for this person who was born in the 60s, I think you could be a baby boomer or you could be, I'm not sure when, because generations are 15 years. So if it ended in, I want to say 1980 or 81 was the last year of Gen X. So like 65, somewhere around there would have been the start. And then before that would have been boomers. I'm not sure. There's different sources, but you could be a boomer. You could be a Gen Xer. Yeah, we got a lot here. And I think really it's just everyone's looking for answers and looking for understanding. And that is honestly, like, I get it. I'm in the same boat too. But there comes a point where we literally just have to be patient. And it will all work out. But I don't have an imagination creative enough to have guessed much of what is happening in the last several weeks or month. I can't, like, I never would have pulled that out of my hat. So people say I wouldn't have had that on my bingo card. So that's why it's like, guessing is just a recipe for disaster. It's a way for people to pass time and like maybe quell momentary anxiety. But then if that was proven wrong, then your anxiety is right back again and you're asking the same questions. What about this? What about that? So it's just like, chill. We're good. We'll all find out. My nose is running. My nose is running because my sinuses. Oh, goodness. I thought I was getting toward the bottom of chat. Not even close. All right. I am going to fly through the rest of this chat and just look for questions. I don't want to miss anybody or not say hi, but I keep thinking I'm getting close to the bottom. And then I'm like, nope, sure not. Melody says it certainly is looking like it's unfolding right on time. Yep. That's why it's like we just have to be patient. Just have to be patient. And spread the dang gospel, people. Like if we know that time is this short and we're convinced that like we're at the end, it's time to start making sure that people know. They agree or disagree, whatever, but do what we can while we have time. It's like not now or never, right? Now or never. It's not the dang gospel, but it's like, dang it, man, time to buckle down and get serious. Like if there was ever a time to buckle down and get serious, this is it. The covenant with many is the reinstituted Mosaic law. The many is Israel. I have a book called Daniel 70 Weeks where I talk about all of this. I have a study of the book of Daniel and a playlist where I go through the whole book of Daniel line by line, verse by verse. If you guys have questions about this, please use the available references. I also have in my most important end times playlist videos. I have talked about this for years. So if you guys have questions about the covenant or the many or any of this, please refer to the reference material that is already available. Because we're also getting to the point where I am really not answering any new questions because all of the content is already there. I have been getting like dog piled on. I saw that about something else, emails, and I'm not even answering them. There might be like 1% of my emails I'll even respond to, and that's not for people asking for things in email are not going to get responded to because I have all of the content already provided. No new questions are going to be answered unless it's like related to what's going on in Syria, and I'll come live and talk about it. But related to content that I already have existing, it's like find it. It's there, and I've made it really super simple. People just need to do some work to find it. A little bit of checking, but I've got the links, I've got the playlist, like I've got all of this, and I really am at the point where I'm not going to be doing more. So I would encourage people that unless you're saying thank you, don't bother sending an email because I'm not going to answer it. All the stuff's on my channel. All the stuff's on my channel. Like anything that anybody needs to know is already there. You just have to go find it. Yeah, the heifer doesn't apply to us. Like it's interesting because it's going on right now, and maybe that's a sign of the times, but it doesn't apply to us, and it won't have anything to do with while we're still here, I don't think. Torah portion. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, earlier we were talking about Numbers 19 and the yes. Yep. No, I'm not going to be addressing anything regarding the red heifers because I don't know and frankly don't really care. I have no vested interest in that whatsoever. I think I saw Callie in here. Hi, Callie, if I missed you. You dog pile hugs in heaven. Yeah, that's where I rather was scrolling back up. Anyone who's asking questions about calendars or trying to introduce confusion about calendars is going to get blocked. I have a video that I did not too long ago. I was like, I'm over that. And I've been over that for a really long time. I made a joke on the phone to my son that somebody asked me in a video. And I was like, I probably shouldn't have read that out loud, but I was just so used to reading comments at that point and not really thinking that maybe I should read it before I speak it out loud because I just wasn't used to that. This is like weeks ago. So then somebody said, is March 30th the same as April 8th? And I'm like, nope. I'm like, I don't know if there was a separate question intended. I'm like, no, those are two different dates. So I don't know. And somebody else just did something to that effect, is maybe April 8th is April 22nd. I'm going to block that. That is ridiculous on its face. And I don't know who is teaching you to be confused and why you are accepting that confusion, but please don't bring it here. April 8th is April 8th. March 30th, March 30th. April 22nd is April 22nd. I don't know why we need to explain these concepts or why there would be such confusion. It's kind of ridiculous, slightly ridiculous. I don't know. Whoever is teaching you to be confused about that or trying to confuse, just avoid them. Avoid people who confuse you. Like, that's just common sense. Sorry. I shouldn't say things like that, but come on. Come on. All right. We're talking multiverse, Antonio, where there's like two different worlds going on at the same time. No. Too much Avengers. No. Yeah, that is unbiblical. Yeah. Yes, if 1406, then 2025. it's yeah. I mean, when I talked about all this once upon a time and wrote about this, clearly I had no foresight about what the specific events in the world were going to be like. It was just like, this is what the Bible says, this is how to count. So if it's this, then it's this, and just kind of set it aside. But like, holy cow, man. Holy cow. If people need a sign, I think you got a whole bunch of them. Oh yeah, my videos of turkeys. Yeah. The links to all my stuff are in the description box of my videos. They're always in the description box of my videos. So if you're questioning where my content is, just look at the description boxes. Yes, I block confusers too. I don't appreciate being confused, and I don't like other people who try to confuse other people. It's like my goal is to simplify stuff. Maybe it will be able to be simplified for some people and maybe it won't. But my goal is always to simplify. On its face, I reject people who try to introduce confusion. That it's like, no, God, there are complex things in the Bible, but it's never complicated. And so if we are trying to complicate things, then we're like not doing anybody any favors. But I think that goes back to, it's like a hook or a marketing strategy. It's like, I understand something in some cool way and only I know this. So you have to come watch my stuff. It's like, no, I don't think so. That's not how the Bible works. It's not super secret, special knowledge. You don't need spy decoder glasses. It's like, maybe it's a little complex and we need to use discernment, but it's not complicated. And everybody has the same Bible. So we should all be able to follow the same path to come to the same conclusion, which is Jesus. The way, the truth, and the life is Jesus. You guys have a tremendous day. I appreciate all of you. I know that people want details. Wait and see. Patience. Keep looking. Share things if you see them. I will continue to share things as I see them. But truly, we're just in the wait and see phase. And I would encourage people to exercise patience. You can't do anything else anyway. Make it easier on yourself and just be patient. Have a great rest of your day. And I will be forthcoming with the continuation of my Revelation 21/22 study. And I will do a video in the near future about the trivia that I put on my community tab, or my post tab now. They renamed it, about the pearls. This is a fascinating conversation. So we'll do that in the very near future. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later.